What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? Welcome back into the CRW podcast here for episode 237, and it's Coal Rush Week. That's right, West Virginia welcomes in TCU for a night game in Morgantown this week, as it is the Coal Rush, and we'll be here to discuss that game, give our preview and predictions here at the tail end before we take a look around the Big 12 and make our picks in some of the other conference games happening here. Week 9 of the season already, gentlemen, and joining me to help me discuss that game and those Big 12 games as well, my two co-hosts. We've got Brad
What up?
and Steven.
What's going on, everybody?
All right, gentlemen. So, of course, big storyline heading into this one for West Virginia. Second Coal Rush ever. First, night game of the season, really. I guess you could say for this 6 p.m. kick on ESPN Plus coming up on October 25th, welcoming in a talented TCU team. 5-2 on the season. They're 2-2 in Big 12 play. West Virginia is looking to hopefully snap a 4-game losing skid, still seeking their first conference win as they come into this one at 2-5 on the season, 0-4 in conference. 13th game all time against TCU. West Virginia is 8-5, or excuse me, there's been 13 meetings. West Virginia is 8-5. This will be the 14th game here in this Coal Rush. Head coach of TCU still Sonny Dykes in his 4th season. We know he took them to the national championship there early in his tenure, and they've been pretty talented since he's been there, and they've been one of the best offenses in the country as well, which we'll talk more about when we dive into each side of the ball. But opening thoughts, guys. I'm going to pass it off to you all because I don't really know where to start with this one. I keep bringing up the Coal Rush because I think that's the main thing right now. Me and Steven talked in the past about focusing on the moments and, those little giveaways and stuff that you're going to get if you're going to the games. It's the first home game in a while. That's a bright side. Those Coal Rush uniforms are sweet. That's a bright side. Night games in Morgantown. Hey, you never know what could happen, but outside looking in, unfortunately, looks like we're a little overmatched in my opinion. But maybe you guys can point me in a different direction, maybe be a little bit more optimistic than I am, because it's kind of hard for me to feel optimistic right now. But how are you feeling about this one, opening thoughts wise, Steven?
Yeah, I'm a lot like you. As much as I want to try to get hyped up for the actual game and believe that we, can compete at least offensively. The more I kind of negate those thoughts and I have reservations in a lot of areas as for the reasons that I've mentioned prior, but a lot like you, I think I guess the aesthetic part of the game is what I get more excited about, or am getting more excited about for the remaining games. Hopefully they got some cool stuff, cool giveaways for the Colorado and Texas Tech game coming along too. But yeah, the second Coal Rush ever in history, first night game of the season. Well, no, was Robert Morris.
Yeah, the
It's
other
a
one
night-ish
was
game, yeah.
No,
the pit game
Pitt
ended
went
at
late
3:30
because it was
but it
overtime.
wasn't. That was OT.
not a night kickoff.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, I guess first technical night kickoff of the season. So there's reason to be excited in that area, but I don't know. Never count them out. I wouldn't say that I would totally think we don't have a chance. I think that that just leaves room for there, possibly to be a massive upset, because I think that West Virginia still has a chance. Don't ask me who. I have no idea who, and whether they actually do it, I have no idea. But they have a chance to, if they can have some morale and rally together and maybe put some pieces in the right spots. They could potentially maybe win one more game. I think that's a max. That's an absolute max, and I don't think that there's a high percentage that even that'll happen. Obviously, but I don't know. I think if anything, that would be the one thing that would give you some motivation going into the off season, other than the newcomers coming in for next season. That a win of this caliber could do that. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Never say never, but not a lot of confidence.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It's bleak
Yeah.
right now, 100%. But I think the positive side is the one, if you are going to get another one, what we've seen from this team is that they play a lot better at home than they do on the road. So it's probably more likely that it's going to be one of those home games. This is the first one of those in a while. Maybe they come out surprises, play better than expected. Fingers crossed that happens. But, Brad, what about you? Opening thoughts on this matchup with TCU, the Coal Rush being back at home all these things as West Virginia looks to maybe turn their season around or at least pick up a conference win, snap a losing streak, just something.
Yeah, man, it's a whole lot of oof right now. I feel like I'm saying that a lot. It's just a whole lot of oof, and it's just bad ball. Things aren't looking fun, and it's not enjoyable to watch. But ultimately, this is where I come back to you said a few podcasts ago that really you're just trying to build as much goodwill as you can till the end of the year at this point. You are really trying to do as much as you can to sell somebody on whatever you're doing next year. I think it's pretty obvious you get year zero, scratch year one, whatever you want to call it, and you get your time, but you've got to come out and you've got to show something at least once, right? And maybe consider that the Pitt game, and maybe that's just as good as it gets, and that's what we've got to deal with. But, back half rod, you should be able to come out here and find a way to win one that you shouldn't again. And that's just, it comes back to that point of show something exciting. Make it something fun. Even if you don't win the game, make it something you're punching above your weight class when we're outclassed in every way right now. Come out, one more time and show us, what we can look forward to in the future. And like, that's really going into all these games the most that you can expect. Because really outside of that, man, I'm a Mountaineer fan, right? Like, I'm just going to, win or lose, I'm going to sit here and cry through it. But I'm going to watch
absolutely.
it. I'm not going to go do anything else. You won't catch me really watching any other team. This is it for me, So I'm going to show up. I'm going to be excited. I think we can whip everybody's ass because that's just the Mountaineer way. But ultimately, that's really just what I'm looking for, is show me, again, it comes back to being exciting a little bit, showing them a little something, We really don't even know what we have in perspective of players right now. Show me some people that can be exciting. Show me growth. Show me improvement in some area, aspect, or way. And really, that's all you can ask for. I'm not even asking for wins. I'm just asking for from a D minus to a D plus. Get me somewhere.
Just a glimmer of hope for the future.
Yeah, like you said, playing at home, Steven, like that stuff matters. And if we're gonna get anybody anywhere, your best chances are at home. So why not this weekend? That's part of the argument, but I'll say realistically, listening to Coach Rod just be a little bit beat up and, obviously feeling the pain right now just of a bad season. It's a lot to handle. I wouldn't want to be in his shoes.
No,
Yeah.
me neither, man. It's
You can
tough.
tell, like, in the press conferences too, man. Like, I'm like you. I feel bad for him.
Yeah,
I feel bad to be in the position he's in, to a point. I mean, I think he
Yeah,
will
I
get it
mean,
figured out.
yeah. I was gonna say I still got faith. I know a lot of people are losing faith early, but I think they'll come back around. And I loved how candid he's been. This week, both on his coach's show and in his press conference, talking about, honestly, yeah, there's some guys we misevaluated on this roster, and I think we can all see that as well. There are some guys that they misevaluated, and it's okay that it's big that they're owning up to that. But then you add into the fact that he also said that I think was what more stuck out to me was there were some other guys that we wanted to get, on the offensive line and other places that we couldn't quite afford this past all season, and then turned right around and said, we'll be able to afford those type of guys this upcoming season, and we know that they've held back extra money. They have made the commitment and scholarships from the Board of Governors. So I think, yes, it sucks right now, especially after having to deal with the 6 years we just dealt with. But the way I'm just kind of settling it with myself is that I know brighter days are ahead, and I still have a good feeling about the future because I think that we have an athletic director that's committed, and a coach and a staff that knows how to do it. And I think they'll
Yeah,
get us there.
I wanted to add to that too, and this is this is a glaring what's the right word that I'm looking for here? Um, Abnormality
Mm-hmm.
for a Rich Rodriguez offense. This is not typical at all for a Rich Rodriguez offense to be struggling along the offensive line at all, let alone this bad. So I'm right there with you. I'm
But
fully
I
confident
will
that it
say
can
one thing
correct
that's
quickly.
made me awfully suspicious is just how bad the quarterback room fell apart. It just, things went a little bit left, and maybe that's just college football nowadays. But like, if
Are
you
you
really
meaning in
step back
terms of
and
like you
like,
like in
if you really think about it, like Nico stepping away so quickly kind of tells you something, and that kind
But
of stuff like makes me a little sus. It's just about
to that point, though,
some of the dynamics
we
in that
talked about
room.
this the other day. Like we don't have an official word on that. We heard on 3 reported it, but to our knowledge, Nico's back with the team,
Yeah,
and we've
that's
never heard him say that he's transferring.
the only thing we
So
know. He's out for the season for sure,
right,
but I mean,
which I mean, it's
we'll see.
all likely the case that probably
Yeah,
is the
but
case.
there's also just been like the weird communications about, Rich Rod's been open about Ty Edwards, but he's not been as open about Nico, right? Just, I haven't, let him come back from the doctors, right? And it's,
It was a
and you
weird
look at like
situation.
Jalen Henderson, like they're not even talking about him anymore either, right? Like he's still just injured, might be questionable, might come back, right? As a
I'm not
senior, and it's just
opposed to him leaving though.
we went from 5 quarterbacks in the room to find me one, like find me one.
Well, I
And
thought about to say, I think we're only going to have one on Saturday.
Yeah.
Really, because sounds
Well,
like
I
it's
know, and
Scotty
you got-
Fox is the only one that's fully healthy right now.
Well, and name me a game that we've had this season that a quarterback hasn't went down to an injury at some point in that football game. One game.
or that we haven't played at least 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we got 5 games left, gentlemen. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, I mean we're
Not a very
realistically
good
going to see.
recipe.
I'm pulling for Rodney Gallagher as the blowout.
I want to see it
hopeful.
just for the just to
I know
be
Jordan
able
likes
to
Cam
see
Vaughn.
it
I
and
think
the way
we're
the
not that
season's
far.
Jordan's
already
thinking
won.
Cam Vaughn, but
Yeah,
I think it's
we're not
I
Rodney
do,
far
Gallagher.
from
but-
Cam Vaughn, Rodney Gallagher, or
Right.
I mean Scotty Keenan and Max Anderson are getting some practice reps.
But
now
Cam
at this
Vaughn, you're
point.
going to give up your absolute number 1 receiver to put him at quarterback when
I mean, hopefully not. Let's pray.
'Cause, I
it
mean,
doesn't come to that.
love Rodney. He's tried to put in a lot of work, but also what he's done out there. Like
Yeah.
haven't seen him much,
Yeah.
so put him in the backfield. But just put the ball in his hands. See what he does with it.
Yeah.
Probably
I'm
can't throw it,
I'm a
but
fan of
3
putting
times a game.
Gerard Bowie in the backfield at halfback. Just
I
because
tell
he
you
seems
what, he's
at
been
times.
looking explosive for sure. But
Yeah.
sounds like this week it's. I mean, Scotty Fox is making the start again, and Max Brown may be available in emergency. And other than that, I mean, who knows? We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's just
but
insanity.
that's just it's a
That
crazy
is-
situation for West Virginia, not only at quarterback but injury wise across the team. And I think that's another thing that people are failing to take into account. And we'll dive into the matchups on each side of the ball momentarily. But the injuries have been crazy. I can't remember a season where it's been. I mean, there's been seasons where we've been hit with injuries at certain positions. I remember, one of Dana's end of the years, we were down to like our 6th linebacker, and there's been certain positions. But this year, to lose, your top 3 running backs, because you can take it back to the preseason with Jalen Knighton. He was going to be one of your top 2 or 3. Then you lose Jaheim. Then you lose Ty Edwards. You lose all those guys for the entire season. Quarterback we just went over. You can go on down the line on the defense as well. It's been crazy. I can't remember a year like this. So you add that into the fact of what Rich Rod talked about this week of guys maybe they missed on, and then guys they weren't able to get. And if you aren't able to get some guys, and so you feel like you're maybe don't have the talent you need on the offensive line, and then you miss on some guys, and then the guys that you do feel like you hit on get injured, you're probably going to have a 2-10, 3-9 season,
Yeah. Yep. And
Just where we
that
are,
2
just
and
trying to get
10
over
is
80 of your staff, your players.
the worst season in I can't remember 70 some years. I can't remember.
I was about to say, I don't think
exactly.
WVU's ever had 10 losses in a season. I saw someone say, which is crazy to think about. So,
Well, yeah,
hopefully
you
we
got to
get at
also
least one
think that
more.
they didn't play but 10
I was about to say
10
'cause they didn't
games in a
start playing
season
that.
until like 1970 something, I think.
Yeah,
Maybe even.
So-
But thankfully, Pitt isn't one of those losses. Eat shit, Pitt.
that's right. 9-13. We'll always have that.
Hey, you know
We'll
what I
always have
said?
that.
You know what I said?
Tell me. Tell me what you
you,
said.
you know what my true hope is, Brad, here?
Tell
My
me.
hope is
Preach to
that
me.
all right, so hear me out. Let me finish before you judge what I'm about to say because it's going to sound really crazy at first. What I hope is Pitt balls out for the rest of this season, right? Okay, and then they're at an at-large position for a playoff berth. And then they're in contention up there, but it's them and somebody else's name being mentioned up there. And then the committee comes out the day of the selection and they're like, you know what? We really felt good about putting them in, but that one loss to that West Virginia team was just so bad that we couldn't afford to put that team in there. And I swear that will make our season that much more worth it for me.
Yeah, we already
Yeah,
got the win, and then we get that.
I will admit, you had me blown in the first half.
I know it sounds
said,
crazy
I want
at
Pitt
first,
to do
yeah.
well, and I about had a stroke. I was
But
like,
you
is that
see
coming
why,
out of
right?
Steven
You see
Drews?
why.
Yeah, but it's the only thing that would help justify the season for sure because it's just karma, beautiful, tasteful karma. Yeah, I could get on board with that.
Yeah, Absolutely. Me as well.
Yep.
Me as well. Let's see what happens with it. But and no matter what, no matter how successful of a season they had and how bad of a season we have, we always beat them. They can never erase it, and we'll have that win over them for the whole hiatus. So,
And we got that monkey off our back a little bit, with the
yeah,
whole being on. We got 9-13 now.
yeah, that's right. We got a
That's
response.
ours.
That's right. Well said. All right, gentlemen, let's get into it on each side of the ball here. Talk a little bit more about this game. I know we've been trying to delay the inevitable here throughout this because we don't necessarily want to talk about this mismatch because it is, in fact, a mismatch as we break this down a little bit. I think you all will see that as well. But like we talked about, crazy things can happen. But let's talk about one of the areas of concern, and that's the TCU offense against the West Virginia defense. TCU explosive, averaging 36 points per game, over 430 yards per game. Offensive coordinator Kendall Briles there for his third season. His first 2 years there. In 2023, they were top 10 in the nation in passing. In 2024, they were top 10 in the nation in passing. And guess what? Josh Hoover, the quarterback, currently number 5 in the nation in passing this year, already over 2,000 yards. He's tied for number 1 in the nation, actually, in passing touchdowns with 21. They have multiple talented wide receivers. Eric McAllister is their deep threat. He has 603 yards, which leads the team, and he has that on only 28 receptions. He's averaging over 22 yards per reception, 7 touchdowns on the season. Jordan Dwyer, over 450 yards of his own, 3 TDs, and then a familiar face in Joseph Manjack, former Houston receiver. He's now at TCU. He has over 300 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns as well. And if the receivers aren't scary enough, the highest graded player on their offense is actually their tight end, DJ Rogers, who has an 80-plus offensive grade on PFF. 2 talented running backs in Kavion Barnes and Trent Battle. Barnes really started to come on lately. He leads the team with nearly 400 yards rushing. So, I mean, just looking at those numbers were enough to have me worried about this game with how West Virginia's defense has played in recent weeks, mainly because, I think when we're not getting pressure on the passer, people have been really hitting us for some deep pass plays, hitting us for some explosive pass plays, and TCU can definitely take advantage of that. So if we're ever going to have a game where a pass rush comes back to life, it's been 4 games since we've had a sack. This would be a great game to get that pass rush back intact and get a sack again, because I think we'll need it going up against a talented TCU offense, in my opinion. But, Steven, what's your thoughts here on this side of things?
Uh, I it would. I agree with you on that. It would be a great time for our quarter or our defense to come back around and start getting pressure back on the quarterback. But I don't see it happening in this game. I mean, Josh Hoover has just played lights out all season long. The only thing that I will say that they might be able to do, if we can find a way to fix some of the gaps in coverage. He has shown susceptibility to throwing interceptions at times this year. So he has been turnover prone, so West Virginia could play off of that, hopefully. That'd be the only way that I see that they can be successful. That and hopefully that they can come back around and be better at stopping the run game again. But I think that to me, comes more into form tackling and getting out of this arm tackling phase that they've gotten into, because that wasn't the case in the beginning of the season. They weren't doing a lot of those arm tackles and they're trying to, what I call sissy tackles.
Yeah.
Um,
Not hard edge.
so hopefully that can get corrected and hopefully they can shut down the run game a little bit more than they have been able to in the last couple of games. And that hopefully that can help them. But that's a very specific recipe that has to happen for them to be able to shut that offense down, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
I don't have high confidence of it happening. What did you say though, Cruz? What did
I said the sissy tackles aren't hard edge, man.
Not hard edge,
No,
man.
no, they're not.
No,
They're
I
not
don't
hard
know.
edge.
I feel like they've struggled almost all year just like tackling. Like that's definitely been one
I
blaring
agree.
weakness.
Yeah.
And like you're just following up on what you guys said, like just the absolute disappearance of our pass rush. It's like it looked really nice in the Pitt game. Like Pitt, we looked awesome when it came to rushing the quarterback. And then it just absolutely evaporated. And it's like,
Nothing
what
since
caused
then.
that? Is that the injuries, right? So, I mean, who was it? Reed Carrico? Is that what we lost? Is that who was doing it? Like, what's happening back there? But that's definitely where, if you're going to have a puncher's chance it's got to come at that defensive line. Like, it's got to come up front there. It's got to come from the strength, and it's getting pressure on the quarterback because as a Mountaineer fan for a while now, I don't have a lot of faith in our pass defense. Just never have, never, like our DBs. It's never been our strength. So, except for that 1 year with that one guy. So it's just I don't have faith in that improving. So it's just getting that up front back has got to be the only chance you really got.
Yeah, and not to make us more worrisome or try and sound more pessimistic, but Fred Perry is questionable for this game as well. And if we don't have Fred Perry, then I'm really, really concerned. At that point,
has been probably the only shining spot on the defense this whole year.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say that, but I would say that one of the only remaining shining
one of the most
spots that's been on
consistent.
Yeah, that's been there because Hammond Russell's out. I thought he had been playing well at times. I think was Eddie V out, wasn't he?
No, Eddie V's still around. Eddie V's been pretty solid though.
He's been pretty solid. I thought he was on the questionable last week. Ashton Woods
out for the
not
season.
really consistent, but been there for a lot of big time plays. Chase Wilson, I think
Yeah, he's been banged up.
We've got. I'm not naming totally injuries, but I'm trying to think of some bright spots that we've had that other than Fred Perry.
Curtis Jones,
as far as
I think last week.
Curtis Jones, absolutely, dude. That's a man right there.
He's a guy that's got great potential for the future.
And I wanna say that I wish that we've seen more out of Jamori Robinson. I'm a guy that maybe gives an excuse too often to players, but I'm still there. I don't know if that's totally Jamori's fault. I mean, we're naive to think that it's not as clear cut as Jamori's just sitting at home on the couch the entire time that that he's waiting on this waiver from the NCAA. I mean, like, he's still in shape and everything, but I mean, there's still a loss there that you have to face whenever you're not around the team. You're not in that. You don't have that social aspect of being around your teammates in practice, or what I mean, in those settings. So I mean, there's even with a position like the defensive end, I mean, that still counts for something, and especially when the team's struggling like it is. I mean, it's just domino effects all over the place, and it's just, what I mean? It just snowballs. So don't really know how to evaluate that one specifically. I really, truly hope that he doesn't transfer out, and we can – he's a senior this year. He can't play next year.
Yeah, he's gone, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, dude sued the NCAA just to get to this point.
I was about to say,
that's literally asked them to throw education out the window.
That's what's most frustrating about it for me is, like, he came – he could have went to the NFL and came back to improve his draft grade, and it's like, dude's nowhere to be found, man. I don't know. It's not only bad because our defense is bad and we could really use him to help our defense, but it's hurting him for the future too, so it's not good for anyone.
These shows are depressing sometimes,
but
man.
No time like the present to show up this weekend, right? Like,
absolutely, Brad.
We just talked.
You got 5 games left, man. We talk about this like we played the entire season already, and we've already went to
5 wins lined up ahead of us.
There is still potential. We're not doing that, but there is potential to go out and still
never say never. You never know
this season.
Where it's not Scotulus, Foxulus could pop off, dude. You don't want to mix.
That's facts. My whole belief system is that you have to have an offensive line of protection for you to be able to do that. But
it's Rodney Gallagher, quarterback, is what it is. That's what's been wrong this whole time.
Hey,
that is what's been wrong this whole time. Nobody ever put Rodney Gallagher at quarterback.
And I mean,
4-star in high school, 4-star quarterback, right?
There you go.
I think he was more listed as an athlete. But
I was about to say he was an athlete, but I don't know, man. Pull out all the stops at this point, I guess, right?
Why not?
I'm not trying to be negative on one particular person, but I mean, I'm going to go ahead and put it out there because me and Cruz has talked about it. I hope that there is truth to some of the coaching rumors, I guess you could call them. Should I say it? Should I say it, Cruz?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty.
There's been
well known. I mean, everybody knows the weak point of the offense, and
if it's not Scott Bignell, I don't know what we're talking about.
It is Scott Bignell. It is. It's not Scott Bignell though. It's Jack Bignell.
Jack
Bignell. God. Jack Bignell. Yeah, I know Bignell.
But yeah,
I got him.
he's all but got his
You too,
feet out the
Scott.
door, and probably for good reason. As Cruz has mentioned to me, like
There's
what we
plenty of
viewed
good
as a
candidates.
largely positive past was maybe not that positive when you get to looking into the details and the tenure at each of the spots that he's had. I mean, it looks good on paper because he's been at some top level spots, but then you get to looking at what the numbers of those offensive lines were that whenever was there. I mean, you talk about being able to twist a resume to be
Yeah.
able to, because I mean, goodness gracious, you'd think that he'd at least learn one or two things about. Okay, well, this guy obviously don't know how to block in a two technique. Let me try somebody else. No,
Yeah.
he just throws McConioli out there. He's like, screw it. I know he sucks, but I mean, I don't know what else to do. At some point, if I'm Rich Rod,
You
I'm like, yo,
expect me to
Jack,
develop
I
somebody
got this,
else?
man. Take a step back.
Well, which
Yeah,
that
so
brings
put
us.
Rich Rod at offensive line
I was
coach.
about to say that brings us. We'll talk a little bit about this side now because we're kind of leading into it, West Virginia offense versus TCU defense. But I think we will see that this week. I think we'll see some different offensive linemen. Rich Rod alluded to as much, and in my opinion, I think that that's probably because what you kind of said there, Brad, right there is they're kind of forcing that hand finally because there's only one position coach that hasn't been pulling his players, and it's the one that Steven just mentioned. And I think if some changes are made now, I think it's more us being like, hey, we're gonna do this, and he's kind of there, for the rest of the season. They're not gonna move him out in the middle of the season or anything, but I don't know how much more control he has, for moving forward. It just kind of reading the tea leaves. I don't know. It's pure speculation, but that's
Yeah.
kind of the way I feel about it. And I definitely think the offensive line is probably the main area that everyone would agree needs to improve for next season. And I think you missed on the personnel, and you probably missed on it staff wise. So you'll probably see new in both those departments for next year, and that is what it is. And hopefully that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and honestly, like I would love to see Rich Rod step up into that position because honestly, he could probably get him through the season. And when it comes to getting lemonade out of lemons, I think Rich Rod could really squeeze what we got. Get him excited, get up in their stuff. And just kind of
Yeah.
Well,
would
we
have
got
that energy
to
I
and that
just think that
at
at
nastiness
least two.
of
We
just
might
like
have
that an
three
offensive
assistant.
line would
Uh,
benefit from.
we might have three assistant offensive line coaches. I know we have at
Yeah, I
least
think
two
so.
with Derek Dressler and I can't remember the other man's name. So
Yeah.
even
right.
if they're more running things now behind the scenes, we're never going to know about it, but it's possible.
Yeah, and I mean, the reason I was going to say is Rich Rod was probably really reluctant to do that. I mean, for the obvious reasons, but I mean, I think more so for the reasons of like, that's a lot of hats to wear on a game day. You know what I mean? Like being a head coach is one thing. That's a huge responsibility. You got a lot to be able to be responsible for just having that role. Being the offensive coordinator on top of that, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, Rich
Oh yeah,
has other people that help him out with that, but I mean, it's still predominantly his role to call that. And so we're doing that, and then you add on top of it, you got to be focused on offensive line substitution. So you're not only having to focus on you know 3 and 4 things, you got to focus on 7 and 8 things on each particular play, so you can be able to evaluate correctly. And I mean, I
that's a
know
lot,
myself would be struggling like a mother with that. So
right? Yeah,
I don't
anyone
know.
anyone would.
I don't envy as much as I dreamt about it as a kid. I don't envy the role of the WVU head football coach right now in the current time.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure. But just continuing on this side here, and we'll get some final thoughts here as West Virginia's offense matches up with the TCU defense. Some of the TCU personnel in this game, of course, defensive coordinator Andy Avalos, there for his second season. They have really strong linebackers as they bring back Noam Diaby again. He seems like he's been there forever. 56 tackles and 2 sacks. But their big one there is Caleb Alarms Orr. He leads the team with 64 tackles and 3 sacks, and defensive back Jamal Johnson, a really good player, leads the team with 4 interceptions. Just some faces to know there on that TCU defense. And yet again has been the case, for most of the season. West Virginia's offense going to have their work cut out for them. We'll see what the true freshman Scotty Fox can do. Hopefully, starting at home for the first time will, lead to a better performance for him. But Brad, any final thoughts here? West Virginia's offense versus the TCU defense?
I already said everything that needs to be said. Give me Rodney Gallagher the third. We're good to go.
Give me RG3,
There you
baby.
go.
All
RG3
we need.
behind center. I like it. I like it. Steven, anything else you want to add here on this side of the matchup?
Uniontown, PA. Sorry.
Nah, man. I think that the only thing I would add is that if if I'm a fan ever of there being a first year coach gone so soon, it's this time, because there's been times where each and every other position on the offense, just talking about specific units, has shown growth at one point or another. Not always; it's not been consistent, obviously, but at one point or another, you've seen good halfback play, you've seen good wide receiver play, you've seen good quarterback play at one time or another. Have you not? Have you seen you've seen
Mm-hmm.
good tight
We
end
have
play?
won a game.
Mm-hmm.
You have not seen good offensive line play this entire season, and that includes the Pitt game. That Pitt game was willed to win.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're right.
that's just what it was. It was not good. Several moments in that game, I pointed to the fact that we were probably going to lose because our offensive line couldn't block anybody from getting to the quarterback. But thank God, you know, we just Nico willed it out there. You know what I mean? Like he was just going to win that game no matter what. So I just wanted to add to that.
Yeah.
It has been nothing but complete regression the entire season when there has been nothing good to regress from. So I'll end my rant with that. The offensive line coach probably is a must go.
I
Get
agree.
him out.
And I think if you look back, I think it was shout out to the guys on the old grad podcast. I think that's who I heard mention this and remind me of it, and I'd forgotten. The first time when Detroit came in 01, there was a couple people that was on that 01 staff that they moved out after the first year, and then they improved right after and, got it rolling from there. So, history repeats itself sometimes, and that may be the case here
That's
with
fact.
at least one staff member. We'll see what happens at the end of the season. As we know, there will be personnel changes within the roster, but maybe within the staff too, and we'll keep an eye on that moving forward. But with that being said, gentlemen, we've hit on both sides. Let's talk key to victory, and then let's make a prediction for this one. As worried as I am as what our predictions might be, but let's talk key to victory here on this one. I'll take this one first, I guess, because I think I kind of breezed over mine a little bit when we were talking about the matchups, and I think it's twofold because when you look at the TCU offense, what it does best and how explosive it is, a lot of that coming through there. We talked about, top 10 in the nation in passing offenses. No surprise there with Kendall Briles, the son of Art Briles, and we know how crazy those Baylor offenses were when we were first in the Big 12 that he was running. Kendall Briles been doing a lot of the same stuff at TCU and having a lot of success there, and West Virginia's struggled stopping the pass. A lot of that contributed to the lack of pass rush we've seen since that Pitt game where we got in the backfield a ton and had them rattled. No sacks since then. So for me, it's pretty simple. The key to victory, improve the pass rush, improve the pass coverage. Without those two things, no way that you're winning this football game. So it's my key to victory in this one. Steven, what do you got?
It's perfect you went with me next because it kind of piggybacks right off of what you was getting ready to say. Most of it is how much can you rattle Josh Hoover? How much can you pressure him and rattle him and make him uncomfortable? Because in their two losses so far this season, that's what has happened. They've been able to get to the quarterback, rattle Josh Hoover, force turnovers, and then they're able to inevitably shut that offense down into where they're not able to move as effectively as they can whenever Josh Hoover is playing well. So I think being able to rattle Josh Hoover is one, and then being able to force him into multiple get your defense in multiple opportunities to where you're able to get turnovers or at least force turnovers. I think if you can do that enough throughout the day, I think the crowd will then be in it enough to provide you a chance. It then comes down to whether the offense can find enough to be able to put anything together.
Yeah, I like it. Brad, what do you got, man? Key to victory for you.
I'm going classic Brad here. Some absolute
Whoever
out-of-the-box
has more
bull
points.
crap. You got to redefine your understanding of the word victory, right? You got to redefine victory. It's not winning the game; it's winning some plays, right? At this point, so
I like it.
Improvement, showing good positives, growth in areas that's a victory at this point. So Growth, man. Having some positive plays. That's the keys to victory. And you string enough of those together, you might actually pull out a win. But
And that's a
right
great
now,
way to look at it,
focus on
too.
one play.
Yeah.
Let's focus on
And
winning one play.
as I say, and if you look at it that way, you won't be as disappointed going into this game either, probably. So I like that as a mindset for not only hopefully the team to get that done, but for the fan base to maybe look at things that way
Yeah.
as well. So I like the keys there, gentlemen. Which leads us to the score predictions here on episode 237. Cole Rush in Morgantown, TCU coming in, and we'll wrap up our discussion of the game with our score predictions here for this one. TCU favored by double digits. You know, it's at least third game in a row West Virginia's been, you know, a double-digit underdog. This time it's at home. It is a night game, and we know that sometimes magic can happen there. I'll take it first again because I feel like I'm going to be yet again the pessimistic one. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. But it's the point in the season where, to quote an old football coach, they are who we thought they were. We kind of know who the team is at this point, and I'm not expecting any huge surprises, although I'd love for them to come out and pull one off. And, you know, we've kind of left that door open throughout this episode that you never know. Maybe it will happen, and it has happened before in WVU history, and when it does happen, it is in night games. So, you know, with that being said, looking at TCU, they're one of the best offenses in the country. Looking at us, we've been a terrible defense in conference play. Our offense hasn't been able to score or move the ball consistently. So, you know, I'll give us, playing at home, I'll give us a little bit extra. I'm going to say we can score 21 points in this game. I'm going to give West Virginia 21, but it's not going to help us because TCU is going to score 56. So I'm going 56-21 TCU with the win in Morgantown, unfortunately, for the second annual Cold Rush. Steven, what do you got?
Yeah, you like how Brad acts like that's not like the most likely outcome of the game.
He put on a nice. He did a nice bit of acting there. I like
Hey,
it.
I like it though, man. I like it.
58 felt painful. That felt like
It don't sound good. It don't sound good.
I was also blown away by the 21.
Yeah, I
I
felt
was
like
also blown away by the 21.
that was the
21.
optimistic side. I was like, if I'm going to predict a blowout, I at least got to throw in some optimism somewhere.
Some
let me
garbage
give us,
points in the end
Yeah.
is what's really happening there. Okay.
I think that the offensive line switch up might be a positive for West Virginia. I think that West Virginia may come out and show signs of, you know, growth on the offensive early in the game. So I'm going to give us a little bit of credit and say that we can maybe play off of that on the defensive side of the ball and get a little bit of momentum. I don't think there's going to be enough to get it done at the end of the day. I think that what Brad was talking about in terms of a moral victory, I think that's what we'll be talking about after this one. I think West Virginia loses this one by a touchdown. I'm gonna go ahead and give it to TCU 21-14. I think it's gonna be a low scoring game.
Ooh.
But the reason I think that is because I just don't think West Virginia's offense is going to be able to muster enough to be able to move the ball that effectively that much on Saturday night. But I think if you can keep the score within that range, you might potentially have a shot to win it. I hope I'm more right with how close it'll be. I'm sheerly saying that because I think at times when the games have gotten as out of hand as they have, they weren't that way in the first half, and then the game just kind of snowballs because your offensive line can't get any kind of push. So then that just is a domino effect for the rest of the team, which I've touched on many times in the past. So I think that if you can correct that first domino and have some formidable, I mean, you're not going to have stellar offensive line play, but if you can have formidable offensive line play with good technique and guys that really actually want to be out there and want to play football versus what the hell we've had, I think that might potentially be a positive. I just don't think it'll be positive enough to beat a team like TCU.
Man, I hope you're right too. I hope you're closer than I am for sure. I hope that your prediction is closer.
I do too, buddy. I hope it ain't
Nice.
nowhere near what you predicted, but I
do
do think that that's the most likely outcome. I will
I
say.
know. I'm worried about it if you can't tell by my prediction. But Brad, bring us home, man. What do you got here? Score prediction for West Virginia versus TCU in Cold Rush Saturday night in Morgantown here.
Yeah, I'm going somewhere healthily in between. I think it's going to be like 30-17 I think the Mountaineers keep it close in the first half. I think, night game in Morgantown makes it exciting enough just to have a spark. I think Rich Rod's going to come out with just some pop in his ass. I think Rich Rod's going to have the team ready, right? And I think I said that last week coming off a bye week. I thought you had a chance to really get one. I don't see it happening this week, right? I've stopped expecting a win. I've started expecting improvement plays. But I think that the defense shows up in the first half. I think that out of all the coaching staff that we had the most faith in, I would say Zach Alley's, in the top two, and he may not be second. And so I expect to see them take a step up. If anybody's going to readjust themselves and figure it out, it should be the defense. So I think they kind of show up enough to not make it 58, which is where the oof comes from. But, if it gets there, I'm sure that is what I will be saying. This is a whole lot more oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I like your guys, optimism. None of us picking a win here, but you guys got West Virginia keeping it close, and I hope that they do. That's just kind of the point that I've gotten to right now is that I feel like I've predicted them to keep it close, and the last ones they've gotten blown out. Maybe if I predict a blowout, they'll keep it close. A little reverse psychology involved, maybe. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious.
Just a little stitious.
Just a little stitious. Hey, but it's always.
Let's go! Let's go!
Till the day I die.
Hey, that's right. That's right, boys.
Yeah,
Always.
What else we going to do, baby? But watch them lose.
Hey, that's right. And even if we do lose, we still enjoy getting to watch it.
Hey, I'm a Mountaineer fan, baby. As soon as it got to the third loss, I was like, hey, man, basketball season right around the corner. Okay? That's my favorite saying. Hey, it's almost basketball season. And then whenever they lose about, I don't know, like the fourth, fifth game, hey, man, baseball season coming up here about January, February coming up. Not too far off.
And then it's about time for the spring game and just restart the cycle.
I mean, it's a never-ending cycle. That's the funnest part about being a Mountaineer fan. It's not about the wins and losses. It's about looking forward to the next sport.
It's about the cycle.
Like seasons, where it's like 4 seasons, 4 sports.
Yeah.
No,
it's a nice change of pace.
No bullshit though. We're gonna talk about it tomorrow night on the live stream. Cruz, you gonna have this up before we do the live stream?
Oh yeah. I'll get it up tomorrow afternoon.
All right. So for the ones that are watching this show, watch the live stream tonight. We're gonna be talking basketball. Gonna be a positive vibe for once, for the first time in weeks. Okay. A lot to be excited about on the basketball front. Trey Eagle staff, Honor Huff. Honor Huff is a dog, capital D. Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we got
Big
basketball
dog.
season preview coming soon. Be on the lookout for that. Excited to talk about that as well, in addition to this Coal Rush game, which I guess we'll put a bow on, gentlemen, and do a quick rundown here to wrap it up. This week we'll do a little rapid fire. Run a little bit shorter on time this week for our Around the Big 12 segment, but that's all right. We can still
I'm
get
trying
to
to copy
it
everything Steven
and
picks.
get it in. And here is the thing.
That's
also,
See, Brad's catching the hell on, man. See, I like you, Brad. You know,
just still Steven's picks. I know he's been too right lately. I don't really want to address the situation, to be quite honest with you. But what I do want to address is the loyal subscribers, loyal viewers out there. We appreciate you guys tuning in that watch, you guys tuning in that listen. If you listen on any audio podcast platform, leave us a rating. That helps us out. Shout out to our friends at WV Sports Now for hosting our episodes on their website. And you guys that tune in here on YouTube, you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up button, help us out with the algorithm, and make sure you got that subscribe button clicked so you get these episodes directly into your feed every week. Not only are you getting the couple a week now moving forward, you're about to hit that fun time of the season where basketball is going on as well, so that'll be even more content up here on the channel. So definitely want to make sure you're subscribed here to the Country Roads Webcast. And with that being said, gentlemen, let's hit our final segment here on episode 237. Let's go around the Big 12. We got at noon Kansas State and Kansas. Big rivalry game here in Lawrence. They got the TNT HBO Max presentation this week, which I rather enjoyed for West Virginia's game. But K-State, Kansas, I think I'm going to roll with Kansas State. I know it's at Kansas, but Kansas State seemed to kind of turn things around a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Wildcats to get it done. Who you got, Steven?
No, says I, my friend. Give me the Jayhawks.
Kansas will probably win, Brad, but who you going with?
Yeah, the Jay Hizzies, brother. It's all Kansas all day.
All right. You're a smart man following Steven so far this week.
I just believe in the
this
Kansas
season,
rather.
BYU, Iowa State in Ames at 3:30 on Fox.
Give me this one
pro
first.
BYU podcast, right? I know
give me
Steven's
this one
probably going
first.
to
I'll
take
pick
BYU, so I may as well take the Cougars as well.
Yeah,
You
so
know
let me
what?
pick. I could pick this one first.
Yeah, go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, this one I'm gonna take BYU. I'm not picking it because this is my own solo pick. BYU.
It's my
BYU.
own intuition. I'm taking this pick because I thought of this.
I have no idea what Steven's gonna pick for this matchup, but
I
I'm picking
actually,
BYU.
I actually truly do really want to pick Iowa State, but I'm not turning against my Cougars, baby. I got one
Hey.
team that's actually got me going, in a positive direction this year. I'm not turning my back on them. Go Cougars.
Hey, BYU.
Hell of a
All
way to pull
rolling
out the Holy
BYU.
War last week.
Hey, that's right. How about them? How about them getting it done? BYU with the big win in that one. And yet again, we're all taking BYU this week. I mean, seems to be the case almost every week here on the show. But hey, we like the BYU Cougars. What can we say? Baylor and Cincinnati at 4 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. Cincinnati, one of the surprise teams in the conference this year. Baylor looking to bounce back after falling just short against TCU. Steven, let you roll first this time. Who you got?
I got the Bearcats, man. I think the Bearcats, like you just hit on it, man. They looked progressively good throughout the season, and I think they're one of the most underrated teams in the whole conference. So, riding with the Bearcats.
I like it. I want to make the pick, but I'm gonna take Baylor again and hope they get it done because I got their tight end on my fantasy team. I did have one of their receivers, but their tight end's been good for me all year. Need him to have a good game. Let's go Baylor. Let's go get a win at Cincinnati.
You know the irony in that is I have Cincinnati's tight end on my team because Texas Tech's tight end was a little bitch and got hurt last week. Who does that?
How dare he? How dare he? How dare anyone get hurt? We wouldn't know anything about injuries here at WVU. Brad,
we're hard edge over here. We got muscle.
Yeah, hard edge. We're tough.
Yeah, I'm cheering for the one with the bear in their mascot's name,
Smart.
and that one's gonna win.
Yeah, understandable.
Actually,
Brad.
legitimately though, taking Cincinnati.
Cincy for Brad there as well. Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, 4 o'clock ESPNU. Texas Tech is going to absolutely slaughter them. I'm going Red Raiders.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
I don't know if you take Oklahoma State in this game, you're an absolute crazy person. Texas Tech coming with off the loss last week at home. Yeah, it is not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty.
It's going to be bad. We talked about the Horned Frogs and the Mountaineers. Next up, we'll go Colorado-Utah because we're going to save the other one for the game of the week. So Colorado-Utah, 10:15 in Salt Lake on ESPN. Utah looking for a bounce back. I'll roll with the Utes. I think they'll get the win, even though I hope Colorado gives them a good game and it comes in there and maybe pulls it off. But I think Utah will win, so I'll go with my head over my heart on this one and pick the Utes. What about you, Steven?
I think I'm going to ride with the same. I think Colorado's looked good in recent weeks, though, so I think it might be a better game than what I think on paper it's going to be. But, yeah, give me Utah.
All right, Brad, who you got?
Yeah, I've just got an unpleasant taste in my mouth looking at these two teams.
Yeah, me too.
Boring games. I hope the refs win the game.
Boring games. I don't know, man. Colorado sometimes does make it a fun game. I will say that.
No, that's not what I was expecting. That's what I want. I want a boring game, and I want the refs to ruin it.
I like it.
I don't know, man. You got to wish for something good in the Big 12 if we want them to succeed. Hey,
yeah, but not for those two
we'll give
schools.
this shout out. Listen, I've seen the coolest thing ever, so I assume you guys know who Lethal Shooter is.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of him.
He's super famous. He's like ungodly real at shooting a basketball. Like, okay, for those that don't know, Lethal Shooter is a content creator, a basketball content creator, and he can literally make any shot. Like, it's unreal. Like, he can shoot a marble into a water bottle from like across the house consistently. Like, he puts like these spikes on a basketball goal on a rim that, like, he shows you the ball is just the size of the rim, which if you don't know that, on a regular rim, the rim is like three times the size of a basketball. Anyway, the Mountaineer mascot was wherever they go for Women's Big 12 Media Day, and Lethal Shooter was there. And there's like a whole like minute and a half, 2-minute clip of Lethal Shooter showing the mascot how to shoot a J, and he got a wet one, dog. He was draining.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I thought that was cool.
No, I hadn't seen that. I didn't look that up. That's pretty sweet. That's cool. Yeah, definitely deserves a shout out for sure. Which brings us to the game of the week here in our Around the Big 12 segment. Houston and Arizona State at 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. And it's the game of the week because Arizona State pulled off the big win last week. And, of course, Houston's looked, pretty improved this season. But, coming off that big win, I think the Sun Devils continue to roll. And I'm going to go with Arizona State to get it done here. What about you, Brad?
Yeah, I think they're going to rebound a bit. I have high hopes in Arizona State. Nice, fun home atmosphere to get it rolling in. Houston has looked pretty decent, but yeah, I think Arizona State's just got it in them for a little bit more of a run, a little bit more kick into them to some of the preseason favorites. Trying to catch a second breath here in the back half of the season. So yeah, give me Arizona State at home.
Yeah, I like it. Steven, what about you, man?
Yeah, man, I wanted to be different. I was hoping you guys were going to go with Houston. I'm a big believer in Kenny Dillingham. I've been saying that all season that I think that they're right in the same spot as they were about this time last year. The only difference is they don't have Cam Scatterbo back there. But to that point, how crazy is I'm picking Arizona State, but how crazy is it that at the beginning of last season we were talking about how bad of a team Arizona State was going to be?
Right.
Ludicrous.
Hey, that's how quickly it can turn, and hopefully we get to talk something similar about the Mountaineers here in the near future as well.
After our 5-0 run.
What happens, hey? Crazier things have happened.
Anything is possible.
Shout out Kevin Garnett, man. Got to quote that every now and then. But that'll pretty much do it for us on this one. Episode 237. I think we've hit on everything that we need to. We've touched on the TCU game. We've touched on the season as a whole, and maybe what could happen for West Virginia at the end of the season even, and some brighter days ahead. And then, of course, around the Big 12, as we always like to do there to wrap things up. Appreciate you guys tuning into this one. Like we said, be on the lookout for the upcoming basketball content. Of course, live stream where you guys can share your predictions for the game. That'll be coming up on Friday night. So we've got something coming at you the next couple of nights here throughout the week as we head into West Virginia game day and this Coal Rush Saturday. But any final thoughts, gentlemen, before we put a bow on this episode? You got anything, Brad?
Nah, fellas, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Let's go Mountaineers.
Hey, that's right. Steven?
2-10, but we beat Pitt, baby.
Hey, that's right.
Eat
That's
shit,
right.
Pitt. Eat shit, Pitt. Eat shit, Pitt.
Well said. My co-host put it great. I couldn't have put it better myself. That's the important one. We got it done, and we're ready for brighter days in the future and hoping for good performances from the Mountaineers. Just come out, show us improvement. That's all we're hoping for at this point. And like Brad said, winning drives, winning plays, and let's hope we get some of those on Saturday. So with that being said, for my co-hosts Steven and Brad, that'll do it for episode 237. Looking forward to that Coal Rush atmosphere in a night game in Morgantown on Saturday. As always, I'm Jordan Cruz, and until next time, let's go Mountaineers.
If you really want to know, then come on, let's go. Take a stroll down those